बावली के राधा विहार विपिने रमतां मनो में राधा विहार विपिने रमतां मनो में.
Recording in progress.
Hare Krishna. So it will be nice if I can be blessed with the darshan of all the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis here. All the great Vaishnavas of Kanhaiya Desh. So I'm feeling very much privileged today to be here amongst all of you, especially on such an auspicious day. I've been given this opportunity to serve all the Vaishnavas, to just for the pleasure of all of you. This is my third festival today. In the morning we had our Radhastami festival. Then just now another Radhastami festival got over. Lecture got over and just I landed over here to see all of you. So this is a very auspicious day. So first of all, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude for Mani Bhushan Prabhu. Thank you. As I know Prabhuji, I heard only his name. Last year, I have been asked to render some service, but I was not, I think, fortunate enough at that time to do some tangible service, whatever due to some circumstances. So this year again, they're very merciful that they have asked me. So how much time do we have?
We can take 1 hour, Prabhuji.
Okay. So today is the most auspicious day, Sri Radhastami festival. The glories of this Radhastami festival has been described in Padma Puran also by Srila Vyasadeva, when Shaunak and other rishis, they have asked Srila Vyasadeva about this importance of this Radhastami. And there Srila Vyasadeva has spoken very elaborately in Padma Puran about the glories of Radhastami, the most auspicious day. And as we observe the Ekadashi, so we derive a lot of pious benefits by observing the Ekadashi. So they say Shata Sahasra. Shata means 100 and Sahasra means 1,000. About this 100 and 1,000 is 1 lakh. Just by observing the Radhastami festival, one gets the benefit of observing 1,000 into 100 into 1,000. You just calculate how much. This many Ekadashis fasting, that benefit one gets only by observing this Radhastami festival. As also I was hearing from His Holiness Jai Pataka Swami Maharaj, and he was describing about this, that from the beginning of the creation, whatever the sin we have accumulated from so many lives, just by observing this with a proper devotion, with proper faith, if you observe this Radhastami festival, just by observing one Radhastami festival, all the sins gets completely eradicated. As we say Krishna, we speak out Krishna, hey Krishna, Karuna Sindhu. Krishna is the ocean of mercy. But Radharani is practically, you can say, is the personification of Krishna's mercy, personification of Krishna's pleasure potency, Alladini Shakti. So the mercy which is present for us on Janmashtami, as compared to that, 1,000 times more benefit one gets from Radhastami. And it's even mentioned there that like someone gives in charity gold. How much to say Sumeru, the Sumeru mountain, equivalent to the Sumeru mountain, as much as gold if one gives in charity, and multiplied by 1,000. That much benefit one gets just by observing the Radhastami festival. And what other things I can say? As many as the holy rivers are there in this universe. They say, how many? 66. What is it? Arab? 66. 66,000. Sorry, 66,000 Arab. That many holy rivers are there in the universe, in this universe. So just by observing the Radhastami festival, one gets the benefit of taking bath in all the holy rivers. So like this, there's so many things he has spoken, and at last, very nicely, there in Padma Puran they say, Radha Janmotsavam Buddha Kurute Tasya Sanidyam Dadyat Raseshwari Para. And what is the greatest benediction for a Vaishnava? This is, as soon as someone observes this Radhastami festival, Srimati Radharani becomes very much pleased. And Srimati Radharani, by the end of this life, gives the personal association of herself to that devotee who observes this Radhastami festival. So what more to say? Shri Radhastami Mahamahotsav ki jai. It's very pure, this festival. So general festival means we think about Mahaprasadam generally. But since almost more than a year, now the whole association has become virtual. So except Prasadam, we have everything. We have chanting, we have hearing, except Mahaprasadam. And especially, we also need to remember the mercy and the blessings of Srila Prabhupada. Exactly 125 years before, as this is the 125th anniversary year of Srila Prabhupada's appearance, 125 years before, Srila Prabhupada appeared on this planet. And when he appeared, his father Gaur Mohan Dey, and he was serving all the Vaishnavas. And while serving all the Vaishnavas, he was always asking for the benediction. And what was the benediction? Kindly make my son the devotee of Srimati Radharani. And we see that Srila Prabhupada is the one who has given Srimati Radharani the worship of Radha and Krishna to the whole world. So as Brahmavaivarta Puran also speaks about this, and there is a Padma Puran, many different Puranas speak about Garga Samhita, about the glories of Srimati Radharani. And the demigods also say this, Krishna Archaya Nadhikaro Yato Radharchanam Vina. Krishna Archaya Na Adhikara. Krishna Archaya Na Adhikara Yato Radharchanam Vina. Vaishnave Sakalai Tasmat Kartavyam Radhikarchanam. One is not qualified to worship Krishna without worshipping Srimati Radharani. Krishna Archana Na Adhikara. Adhikara means you understand. He is not qualified. Radha Archanam Vina. Very simple. Therefore, Vaishnava Sakala Kartavyam Radhika Archanam. It is the topmost duty of each and every Vaishnava who wants to please Krishna to worship Srimati Radharani. And what is the position of Srimati Radharani? So this is Krishna Pranadhika Devi Tat Adhino Vibhuryata Raseshwari Tasya Nityam Sayahino Natishtati. The three specific characteristics has been explained here. Krishna Pranadhika Devi. Srimati Radharani is the one who is more dear to Krishna even than his own life. Prana Adhikaha. The dearmost person to Krishna is Srimati Radharani. And not only dearmost, Tat Adhino Vibhuryata. Srimati Radharani is the one who controls Krishna. The whole world is controlled by Krishna, and Srimati Radharani is the one who controls Krishna. Krishna is the one who gives the transcendental happiness, Ananda, to the whole world. That's why Krishna is called as Govinda, who gives transcendental happiness to all the senses. But Srimati Radharani is called as Govindanandini Radha, Govinda Mohini, Govinda Sarvasva Sarva Kanta Shiromani. In the words of Kaviraj Goswami in Chaitanya Charitamrita says, the three specific things: Govinda Anandini, Govinda Mohini, Govinda Sarvasva. Three words are there. Govinda Anandini means Srimati Radharani is the one who gives transcendental happiness to Krishna, Govinda. There are two different meanings. If someone understands Sanskrit, Govinda Anandini. So one meaning is Radharani is the one who gives pleasure to Govinda. But another meaning is Radharani is the one, means Govinda gives pleasure to Srimati Radharani. Govinda Mohini, one who even attracts Krishna. Krishna is called as Madan Mohan and Radharani is called as Madan Mohan Mohini. Raseshwari tasya nityam taya hino na tishtati. Krishna cannot leave the association of Srimati Radharani even for a moment. Taya hinaha na tishtati. Krishna never leaves any place without Srimati Radharani. It's also mentioned in the Garga Samhita when Krishna decided to descend in this material world. And then he said that if I have to go to this material world, then Srimati Radharani should also come with me. And then Srimati Radharani says, where there is no Vrindavan, where there is no Yamuna, where there is no Govardhan, I cannot come. So then Govardhan went, then Yamuna went, then Vrindavan went, and then Srimati Radha and Krishna appeared on this planet. So unfortunately, there are some people, those who don't understand the transcendental position of Radha and Krishna. Sometimes they show some kind of disrespect, that Radharani is like some ordinary girl, and the relationship between Radha and Krishna are like the relationship of this boy and girl in this material world. So in the words of Brahma Vaivarta Purana, Krishna himself speaks, Yatha tvam cha tatha aham cha bhedo hi navayor dhruvam. Krishna is saying to Srimati Radharani, someone got unmuted.
Oh, someone angry. Gurmaya Samba Santosh Mark.
Sorry. Sorry. So Krishna is saying to Srimati Radharani, Yatha tvam cha tatha aham cha. Yatha tvam, you am I and I am you. You can say, Yatha tvam cha tatha aham cha. जो तुम हो वो मैं हो, जो मैं हूँ तुम हो. न भेदो ही नावयोर ध्रुवम. Actually, there's no difference between Radha and Krishna. Sometimes some people ask also, why Radha and Krishna didn't get married. So for marriage, one need to have two persons. Na? When there are two different persons, only then the marriage can be possible. But Radha, Krishna are not different. As Kaviraj Goswami says, Radha Krishna ek atma dui deha dhari अन्योन्य विलास रस आस्वादन कोरी. राधा कृष्ण एक आत्मा दुई देहधरी अन्योन्य विलास रस आस्वादन करी. just to give pleasure to each other. They became two. Yatha shire cha dhavalyam yathagno dahika sati yatha pruthivyam gandhascha tathaham tvai santatam. What does it say? Yatha shire cha dhavalya. As the whiteness cannot be separated from the milk, as the heat cannot be separated from the fire, as Gandha cannot be separated from the earth, similarly, Radha and Krishna can never get separated. So therefore, Krishna says to Srimati Radharani, Avayo Bheda Buddhim Cha. If there is some person there is someone in this world who sees the difference between Radha and Krishna, and they see Radha Krishna as ordinary boy and girl, or their loving reciprocation as the ordinary mundane affair. For them, Krishna is saying, Avayo Bhed Buddhi. If they see both of us separately, Avayo Bhed Buddhi Cha Yah Karoti Naradhamaha. He is the lowest of the human being, Naradhama. And what's the punishment he will get? Tasyavasa Kala Sutre Yavat Chandra Divakaro. He will get the permanent residence in Kala Sutra, one of the hellish planet. So he'll get the residence for Yavat Chandra Divakaro. Till the time there is sun and moon in this world. Up to that time, he has to suffer the punishment. And not only him, Purvan Sapta Paran Sapta Purushan Patatyanda Adha. Not only he, but his previous 7 descendants and in the future 7 descendants. तो पहले के साथ और आगे के साथ. All his whole dynasty will permanently reside in Kala Sutra. And what's the another thing? Koti janma arjitam punyam tasya nashyati nishchitam. The pious credit which is accumulated from Koti janma, everything is completely destroyed just by seeing Srimati Radharani as an ordinary girl. How seriously Krishna thinks about this. So that's why here it's very important to understand the greatness of Srimati Radharani. As a Skanda Puran, there is Bhagavat Mahatmya, where he speaks about, so one of the name of Krishna is Atma Rama. You must have heard, Atma Rama. Atma Rama means one who takes pleasure in his own self. Atma me Raman. One who takes pleasure in his own self is called Atma Rama. He doesn't need anything external of this world. So Skanda Puran says, what is actually Atma? Atma means soul generally. So what is Krishna's Atma? So there Skanda Puran, it mentions, Atma tu radhika tasya tai eva ramana daso Atma ram iti prokto munibi guda vedibi Atma tu radhika tasya. Srimati Radharani is the soul of Krishna. And Krishna only derives pleasure from Srimati Radharani. Tai eva ramana daso. Atma Rama iti prokto munibi guda vedibi. That's why Krishna is called Atma Rama. So another meaning of Atma Rama is Radha Ramana. So Atma means Radha. And Rama means derives pleasure. So another meaning of Atma Rama is Radha Raman. One who takes pleasure in Srimati Radharani. So this is just some basic introduction about the glories of Srimati Radharani. There's much more to say, especially if you read Chaitanya Charitamrita. The 2 specific sections in the Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela. There's 2 chapters which speaks about the reasons of Lord Chaitanya's appearance. So first, 3rd chapter speaks about the external reasons, And the fourth chapter speaks about the confidential reasons. And that's the chapter where it speaks about what is the confidential reason of appearance of Lord Chaitanya. Shri Radhaya Pranaya Mahima Kidrusha Vanyaiva Swadyo Yenadbhuta Madhurima Kidrusha Vamadiya Sokhyam Chasya Madanubhavatah Kidrusham Veti Lobhat Tadbhavadya Samajanishachi Garbha Sindhu Harindu. Why Lord Chaitanya appears in this world? So most important reason is, the confidential reason is, understand the mood of Srimati Radharani. One who knows this verse, it comes in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the invocation, the prayers, the Mangalacharan of Kaviraj Goswami, which consists of 14 verses, the Adi Lila first chapter. And in that, one of the verses which speaks about the confidential reason. And this speaks about the greed of Krishna, Lobha. Krishna developed the greed. And what was the greed? Krishna, who is called as all knowledgeable, Sarvagya, Abhigya. Krishna is the one who knows everything, but some things which Krishna was not able to understand. And what's that? So three things. Shri Radhaya Pranaya Mahima, the glories of Srimati Radharani's transcendental love. Second is, when Srimati Radharani serves Krishna, Srimati Radharani relishes the sweetness of Krishna. So Krishna also wants to taste his own sweetness. So first is Radha Pranaya Mahima. Second is Adbhuta Madhurima. One's own sweetness he wants to relish. And third is, when Srimati Radharani renders service to Krishna, Krishna who gives pleasure to the whole world, Krishna gets millions of times more happiness just by accepting service from Srimati Radharani. But the amazing thing is, when Krishna gets the pleasure, millions times more pleasure than Krishna gets, Srimati Radharani gets even much more pleasure than that. So what is the happiness which Srimati Radharani is getting by offering service to me? So first one is Pranaya Mahima, second is Adbhuta Madhurima, and third is Kyam Mad Anubhavatah. What is the happiness which Srimati Radharani is deriving? So for us, especially the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, those who are chanting this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, mantra of Lord Chaitanya, the five most important aspects Aradhyo Bhagavan Vrajeshatan
Hare Krishna, I think Prabhuji is having network issue. He will join back.
Prabhu joined already.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Achha, I got disconnected. I was not aware.
Yeah, okay.
Achha, when I got disconnected, I didn't realize that. I think I closed my, then I was speaking.
Happiness,
You said Aradhya.
How much you have heard? How much have you heard?
You were mentioned how much of pleasure does Krishna wants to understand how much pleasure did Radharani get by
Okay.
serving Krishna.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, I was speaking about this three kind of greed which Krishna has developed. And for Krishna developed this desire. And for that only, Krishna appeared as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Just to understand the mood of Srimati Radharani. As Krishna appears only once in the one day of Brahma. So one day of Brahma is like 14 Manvantaras, is around like 1000 Chaturyugas. So like Satyug, Tretayug, Dwapar, Kalyug is one Chaturyuga, and like that when one cycle of 1000 Chaturyugas happen. In that only in one Dwapar Yuga, Vrindavan Krishna, personally the Golok Vrindavan Bihari Krishna, he personally comes with Srimati Radharani. And once in the day of Brahma, when Krishna himself appears, that's the time when in the next Kalyuga, Lord Chaitanya himself appears to understand the mood of Srimati Radharani. Now the question can come that, okay, in every day of Brahma, if Lord Chaitanya comes to understand the mood of Srimati Radharani, so once he has understood, then why in the next day of Brahma again he comes? So it said that Nitya Naveen Vardhanam. What kind of mood and love Srimati Radharani has? When Srimati Radharani renders service to Krishna, Krishna is getting more and more pleasure, and by seeing Krishna's pleasure, Srimati Radharani's pleasure is increasing more and more, more and more. His bhav is developing, is upgrading, like here in your MacBook, in your softwares, you get upgraded. So Srimati Radharani's bhav gets upgraded practically every moment. So what happens when Lord Chaitanya comes and then you try to understand the mood of Srimati Radharani, by the time the whole day of Brahma gets over, again you see that the Srimati Radharani has some different mood. Then again he develops the greed. So that's like the spiritual competition. Srimati Radharani's mood is increasing more and more, and Krishna develops the greed to understand that mood more and more. And that's why every day of Brahma, Lord Chaitanya appears just to relish the mood of Srimati Radharani. So I was just telling when I got disconnected about, especially for us, the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, those who are taken shelter of Lord Chaitanya, those who are chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we need to understand the five most important truth which has been given by Lord Chaitanya. Where he says, Aradhyo Bhagavan Vrajesh Tanaya. What is the topmost worship? The topmost worship is the worship of Vrajesh Tanaya, Vrindavan Krishna, the Krishna, son of Nanda Maharaj. Worshipping Vrindavan Krishna, that is the topmost worship. What is the topmost place of worship? So topmost object of worship is Vrindavan Krishna. Topmost place of worship is Tadhama Vrindavanam. Vrindavan is the topmost place of worship. Okay, what is the topmost mode of worship? So object of worship, place of worship, then mode of worship. So that is Ramya Kachita Upasana Vrajavadhu Vargena Vakalpita. The topmost mode of worship is worshipping in the mood of gopis, the damsels of Vrindavan. That is called as Gopi Bhav, Radha Bhav. Serving Krishna in the mood of Brajavasis, the inhabitants of Vrindavan. That is the topmost mode of worship. Okay, how we can understand about this topmost object of worship, the place of worship, the mode of worship? So, Srimad Bhagavata Pramanam Amalam. The topmost evidence we have is Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, what is the topmost goal? Prema Pumartho Mahan. Purushartha, the topmost goal is Prema, Krishna Prem. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabho Matam Idam Tatra Darona Paraha. This is the Matam Idam, this is the ultimate conclusion given by Lord Chaitanya. Tatra daro na parha. There is no other knowledge which is greater than this. So we hear about that's the goal of us, all of us. That is the ultimate aspiration we are looking for. To develop this mood of gopis, to develop the mood of inhabitants of Vrindavan, to develop the mood of Srimati Radharani. And that's the desire which Krishna has developed at the end of Dwapar. That the two things are, I want to relish understand the mood of Srimati Radharani, and I also want to give that Radha bhav. That's why we hear, Yadi gaur na hoito, tabe ki hoito, kemane dharita de, Radhar mahima prema rasa sima, jagate jana take. If Lord Chaitanya could not have appeared, the world could not have understood. So I always say, like, what is Bhagavad Gita? So Bhagavad Gita is like the very intimate feelings of Krishna for his devotees. What is Bhagavad Gita? Bhagavad Gita is you can say, the heart of Krishna. What Krishna feels about his devotees. My devotee is like this, my devotee is like this, my devotee, Satvam Kirtayantu Mam, Anantshesh Chintayantu Mam, Man Mana Bhagavat. So what are the feelings Krishna has for his devotees? So the heart of Krishna is Bhagavad Gita. What is Srimad Bhagavatam? The heart of all the pure devotees, that is Srimad Bhagavatam. Where we hear about the Prahlad, Dhruva, and the Pandavas or Kunti, and all different devotees, all Vrindavan devotees. So Bhagavad Gita is the heart of Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam is the heart of pure devotees. And amongst all of those devotees, who is the topmost? Is Srimati Radharani. So Chaitanya Charitamrut is the heart of Srimati Radharani. Gita is the heart of Krishna, Bhagavatam is the heart of devotees, and Chaitanya Charitamrut. What is the internal mood of Srimati Radharani? So in essence, I can say the lecture can get over now. If you want to understand the mood of Srimati Radharani, just read Sri Chaitanya Charitamrut. That's all. Just by reading Chaitanya Charitamrut, you understand what is the mood of Srimati Radharani. That's what Lord Chaitanya has exhibited. So let's see. I'll just take some part from that, from Chaitanya Charitamrita, where Krishna speaks about Kaviraj Goswami speaks about Srimati Radharani. Who is Srimati Radharani? So they, Radhika hai na Krishna pranaya vikara Swarupa Shakti Alladini Namayahara. Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila, chapter 4. Who is Radharani? Krishna Pranaya. Krishna's Pranaya, the love for Krishna, the pleasure-giving potency of Krishna, appears in the form of Srimati Radharani. That is called Alladini Shakti, the pleasure-giving potency. What is the job description of this Alladini Shakti? The two job descriptions. Alladini Karai Krishna Anand Asvadana. Alladini Dwara Kare Bhaktera Poshana. When you go into the temple or when you worship the deities at your home, you see Radha and Krishna. As Srimati Radharani is standing in a very peculiar way, mudra, that is called mudra. So one hand of Srimati Radharani is like this, you see, and another is like this. So this two hands in these two different ways speaks about two different job description of Srimati Radharani. Alladini Karai Krishna Anand Asvadana. Srimati Radharani is the one who gives pleasure, who offers pleasure, who offers practically everything. Any jiva who comes to Krishna, Srimati Radharani is the one who offers it to Krishna. Unless until something is not certified by Srimati Radharani signs on that paper, then only Krishna accepts that. So from one hand, Radharani is offering everything to Krishna, and from second hand, she is like picking up the devotees, all the conditioned souls, and then nourishing them in their spiritual life. So first part is giving the pleasure to Krishna and giving the spiritual nourishment to the devotees. This is the job description of Srimati Radharani. So that Srimati Radharani is called as Mahabhava Swarupa. Alladini Sar Prema, Prema Sar Bhava, Bhavir Parama Kashta Nama Mahabhava. So the essence of Allah, the pleasure-giving potency, is called as love. Essence of love is called as bhava. These are a little bit technical words, which are elaborately explained in also Nectar of Devotion. And the topmost culmination of bhava is called as Mahabhava. And who is Srimati Radharani? Mahabhava Sarupa Shri Radha Thakurani Sarva Guna Khani Krishna Kanta Shiromani. So Srimati Radharani is called as Mahabhava Sarupa. The topmost emotions, the feelings for Krishna is exhibited by Srimati Radharani. Who is Srimati Radharani? So the definition of the word Radha is given in Chaitanya Charitamrita. What Chaitanya Charitamrita says? Sarva Vancha Purti Hetu Krishna Aradhane Ata Aiva Radhika Nama Purana Bakhane. Radha, Radha, Radha. What is this Radha? You must have heard this word Aparadha. One is called Aparadha and second is called Radha. So what is the meaning of Radha? So one of the meanings of Radha is the Preeti. The Preeti means love. When you offer love to someone, that is Radha. Another meaning of Radha is Aradha, worship. So first meaning is to offer the love. Second meaning is to offer the worship. Third meaning is to love means giving the pleasure to the other person. So third meaning is to give the pleasure. And when we give pleasure to someone, he gets satisfied. So fourth meaning of Radha is to give the satisfaction. To offer the love, to give the satisfaction, to give the pleasure, that is called a Radha. So Sarva Vancha Purti Hetu Krishna Aradhane. Srimati Radharani is the one whose complete existence, each and every limb, each and every action, each and every thought, each and every breath of Srimati Radharani is only for the pleasure of Krishna. The name of our society is International Society for Krishna Consciousness. But when you speak in Hindi, they say Antarashtriya Krishna Bhavnamrita Sangha. There is in Padma Puran, there is a very nice glorification spoken by Lord Shiva to Mother Parvati. That is called as Radha Sahasranama. Lord Shiva recites every day this Radha Sahasranama. So in this Radha Sahasranama, there are 1,000 names of Srimati Radharani. And one of the name of Srimati Radharani is Krishna Bhavana. We said Antarashtriya Krishna Bhavana Amrit Sangha. So Krishna Bhavana, what is that word? From where it has come? So one verse we always hear about Rupa Goswami, where Rupa Goswami speaks about Krishna Bhakti, Krishna Rati, Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavitamati. So they also Bhavita, Krishna Bhavana word is spoken. But another place where it's given is Radha Sahasranam. So Krishna Bhavana, that is Radha. The whole existence, practically each and every thought, only how to give pleasure, how to give satisfaction, how to offer the love to Krishna. Srimati Radharani cannot see anything other than Krishna. You hear this verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Sthavara Jangam na dekhe tara murti, sarvatra hai ishta devera spurti, We see in the past tense of Lord Chaitanya how Lord Chaitanya was seeing Krishna everywhere. When he will see ocean, he will think about Yamuna. When he will see any mountain, he will think about Govardhan. And practically each direction. When he comes back from Gaya and he meets Gadadhar Pandit Advaita Acharya, he says, wherever I see, I only see that blue boy. That is Radharani. Radharani cannot see anything other than Krishna. Why Srila Prabhupada and all our acharyas have kept this topic very confidential, Srimati Radharani? Because generally, most of the people in this mundane world, those are always for Dhanam, Janam, Sundarim, those who are hankering for the material benefits, they cannot understand the mood of Srimati Radharani. So like someone is completely drunk and like he is fully intoxicated, and if you go in front of him, he don't understand anything because he is intoxicated. So Srimati Radharani is one who is completely intoxicated with Krishna. She cannot see anything other than Krishna. She cannot speak anything other than Krishna. She cannot feel anything other than Krishna. So only thing which Srimati Radharani can offer to anyone is Krishna. If you go to Srimati Radharani, or then like in India, they have the prayer, Sukha Sampatti Ghar Aave. So if you go to Radharani and say that, Radharani, please give me the BMW, Radharani, please give me this success in my life, or Radharani, give me the job. She doesn't understand this language. That is called as Krishna Bhavana. So Kaviraj Goswami says, Sarva Vancha Purti Hetu Krishna Aradhane Ataiva Radhika Nam Purana Bakhane. Ataiva, that's why it's called Radhika. Sarva Vancha Krishna Aradhana. Each and every desire, each and every endeavor, each and every thought of Srimati is Krishna, 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 pleasure, Krishna. How I can give pleasure to Krishna? That's the only thing Srimati Radharani has. So the two things which I was just having the thought in the mind. One is speaking about the Gopi bhav, and then second is to speak about the Radha bhav. So just in brief, I will speak about what's the mood of Gopi. Because especially nowadays, if you see even in ISKCON, the many people, this got Gopi bhav, and also some people, they even wear the Gopi dress, and then they have the Gopi dots, and then they think that just by putting some Gopi dots and having the Gopi dress, they will become the Gopis. Actually, there is no connection of Gopi with a male or female body. When you go beyond this bodily concept, Naham Vipro, Narapati, Napi Vaishyo, Na Shudro, that's the beginning of spiritual life. I'm not a Brahmana, I'm not a Grihastha, I'm not a man, I'm not a woman. When you forget these things, then one comes on the platform of Gopi Bhav, which is much more higher. So Gopi Bhav is not something about the female body. Gopi Bhav is not something about the Gopi dress, not about putting some Gopi dots. It's about the specific mood which all these Gopis were having. So the simple meaning of Gopis, Go means senses and P means to drink. One who is drinking Krishna from all the senses, from the eyes, from the nose, from the ears, from practically each and every sense. प्रत्येक इंद्रिया से जब कृष्ण को पान किया जाता है, उसको कहते हैं गोपी. इंद्रियों से कृष्ण को जो पीते हैं. That is a simple meaning of Gopi Bhav. And there it says about this Gopis and Srimati Radharani. So in this world, the loving reciprocation which boy and girl have, or in any other relationship, that is based on the selfish desire, swartha. But the love which Gopis are having for Krishna, how is that? Only Krishna Sukha Tatparya, just to give pleasure to Krishna. So there are around 5 different specific qualities are there, which 5 different qualities of the Gopi bhav. We'll just take it in brief. So let's see how much I can cover. I'm not sure whether I'll able to reach up to Radha bhav or not. So unless until you don't understand the Gopi, Radha is much more higher than that. So Gopi bhav, the first part Kaviraj Goswami speaks is Loka dharma, Veda dharma, Deha dharma, Karma, Lajja Dhairya Deha Sukha, Atma Sukha Marma. Who are the gopis? When Krishna played the flute in the middle of night, at that time, all these gopis were having different kinds of their duties. Loka dharma, Veda dharma, Deha dharma. So Loka dharma means Lok vichar they say. So when you in Hindi they say कि लोग क्या कहेंगे. When you think about the people, this what our society will say, what my family members will speak about, and we are very much concerned about all these things, about the social status, about our prestige. So when gopis were called by Krishna, the first thing they renounced is Loka dharma. They didn't care about the Loka dharma, what the people will say. Second is the Veda dharma. So there are Vedic injunctions. It speaks about Varnashram dharma. It speaks about the Stri dharma, Pati dharma, Patni dharma. These are the Vedic. So Lok dharma is the society. There are some certain duties are there. Then Veda dharma, what the Vedic injunction speaks about many things. Ideally, Manu Sanhita speaks about many things. Manu Smriti. So first is the Loka dharma. Second is the Veda dharma. Second is the Deha dharma. You are in a male body or someone is in a female body. So according to body also you have some kind of duties. But who are the gopis? When Krishna played the flute, some of the gopis were like milking the cows. Some of the gopis were feeding milk to their children. Some of the gopis were serving their husband. Some of the gopis were serving their in-laws. Some of the gopis were decorating their own body with different kinds of cosmetics, you can say. But as soon as they heard the sound, transcendental sound vibration of this flute, Venu Geeta, Venu Nada, immediately at that moment, they just threw all those things. The gopis were milking the cows, they just left everything. Some gopis were cooking in the kitchen. They were like making the halwa or making some sabji, and they just left. It got burnt out. Some gopis were serving the husband, so they served the sabji and they're about to serve the rice or the chapati, and they just left. Some gopis were serving their in-laws, the father-in-law, mother-in-law, and in middle of that they left. Some gopis were feeding milk to their child. They threw their child and they just left. Some gopis are dressing themselves, and as soon as they heard, they become so much anxious. They upside down, they can say. They are not conscious to put which cloth on which part of the body. So like that, and then suddenly started running. And when all the family members saw this, immediately they stopped them. But Govind apratatmano jnanavartant mohita, because Govind has attracted the heart of the gopis. No one was able to stop them. Ideally, women are physically also, the kind of structure God has given, physically they are sometimes weak than the human and than the men. So when the gopis were going, Acharya says that almost 5, 10, 20 male members were there in the family. The elder brother of the husband, or the father-in-law, or the brothers, many uncles, and 20 male people were trying to stop one gopi, but they were not able to stop. So there he says, Dustyaja Arya Patha Nija Parijana Swajan karayat tadana bharsana. They were chastised, they were humiliated, they're getting some kind of punishment, they're getting some kind of beating, but they didn't care any of those things. Sarva tyaga kari kare Krishnera bhajana Krishna sukha hetu kare prema sevana. Such a nice word. Sarva tyag kari kare Krishna bhajan. This is the first characteristic of Gopi bhav. To give such a topmost priority to Krishna consciousness. The only exclusive responsibility after getting this human body is to get the Krishna prem, is to offer the service to Krishna. As we hear when Srila Prabhupada was speaking with His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj. I like this statement always. I speak about this. Srila Prabhupada said to Bhakti Charu Maharaj that you got so many bodies in so many lives. And in all those bodies, you have served your parents, you got married, you serve your wife, you serve your children. And practically you have given priority to Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Oh, sorry. Again, I got disconnected.
Yes, Prabhu. Just now.
Just a second before.
Yeah, yes, Prabhu. We are discussing with what was known as Bhakti Charu Maharaj with Srila Prabhupada.
Okay. Yeah. So I was mentioning this that His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj was Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada mentioned that you got so many bodies, and in all those bodies you have given priorities to so many people, to your parents, to your father, to your mother. You got married, you serve your wife, you gave priority to your children, your business, your job, and practically each and everything of this world were given priority in so many lives except Krishna. But this year, then Prabhupada said, just give this one life to Krishna. And as we hear that, as soon as Bhakti Charu Maharaj heard this statement from Srila Prabhupada, just give this one life to Krishna. Immediately Bhakti Charu Maharaj said, Srila Prabhupada, give me sannyas. And he got the sannyas. So one sannyas is external, but ultimately for getting the Gopi bhav, this sannyas consciousness, as like today is also the 51st anniversary of sannyas of His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. So this is the first thing. What is the first characteristic of Gopi bhav is Sarva Tyaga Kari Krishnera Bhajana. For Krishna, if I have to renounce everything, like when Mirabai was tortured by her own in-laws, the Vikram Rana and the mother-in-law, the sister-in-law, everyone was giving so much torture. They were giving the poison. And at that time, she wrote a letter to Tulsidas, Goswami Tulsidas. And she was getting like some kind of counseling. Like Tulsidas was like one kind of counselor, Shiksha Guru of Mirabai. And Mirabai asked that I'm getting so much problem with the family members. So what should I do? And like Tulsidas was really heavy. So what he says is in a Avadi. Hare Krishna. It's too much. Please kindly forgive me. There's a lot of interruption is coming up. So when Goswami Tulsidas got this letter from Mirabai that she's getting so much problem, so how she should tackle this. At that time, Goswami Tulsidas spoke a very heavy statement. Goswami Tulsidas says, Tyajahi tahi koti vairi sama yadyapi paramasanehi. If someone is blocking my Krishna, the topmost duty of this human body is Krishna. I want Krishna in this life. Nothing is much more important for me than Krishna. And if someone is blocking my Krishna consciousness, what Goswami says? Tyajahi tahi. You should renounce that person. Koti vairi sama. Like a millions of enemies. Yadyapi paramasanehi. Even though he might be the most intimate relative, the family member, but if he is not supporting in Krishna consciousness, if he is disturbing your path of Krishna consciousness, at least in consciousness, internally we should have that courage. So that is the first part of Gopi Bhav. It says that Atma Sukha Dukha Gopi Nahika Vichara Krishna Sukha Hetu Cheshta Mana Vyavhara. Gopis are never thinking about their own happiness and distress. Only thing, we want to give pleasure to Krishna. That's why Kaviraj Goswami says, Krishna lagi ara sab kare parityaga Krishna sukha hetu kare shuddha anuraga. Krishna lagi ara sab kare parityaga. For Krishna, we are ready to give up. And that's the thing which has really made Krishna controlled, which has controlled Krishna. And Krishna says that although I have given this promise in Bhagavad Gita that ye yatha ma prapadyante tam sataiva bhajamyaham, that whoever will offer any service, accordingly I will also reciprocate with him. But the same Krishna says, se pratigya bhanga haila gopira bhajane. But that pratigya, that vow has got broken just by seeing the devotion of gopis. And there, like Krishna says in Bhagavatam after Ras Lila, na parayeham. I'm not able to become free. I'm not able to become free from this depth of your devotion, even if I get the life of Brahma. So this is the first quality of the gopis. There's much more, I think, almost 5 things, but almost time is over. So, and then there is Radha bhav, so Gopi bhav. So these are almost 5 qualities which has been given by Kaviraj Goswami about this Gopi bhav. That's the ultimate goal of our life, to get that Gopi bhav or the Braj bhav. So first thing is to have the priority of Krishna consciousness. Means the first thing, we should be convinced that Krishna is my goal. Most of the time we are not really convinced. As Bhaktivinoda Thakur speaks in the Bhajan Rahasya about Sadhya Sadhana Tattva Vibhrama. Sadhya Tattva Vibhrama. Means we are confused. Do we really want Krishna? we want package Krishna actually. We don't want pure Krishna. We want Krishna. We should keep our family happy. We want Krishna. Like I always say, most of the time we want Krishna as the painkiller, or other time we want Krishna as the ATM card. Means we get the distress. So to get relief from the distress, we want Krishna. Sometimes we want some wealth. To get the wealth, we want Krishna. So we want Krishna along with this material world. If someone will tell you, do you really want Krishna? Are you ready to give up each and everything? Say like now if death will come to you, are you ready to renounce everything? And if we introspect ourselves, actually we are not ready. We are already holding so many things. As I always say in Hindi, there is a 3 statement I always say. ये दुनिया हमारी है नहीं, ये दुनिया हमारी हो सकती नहीं, और ये दुनिया हमें कुछ दे सकती नहीं. Like this world doesn't belong to us. This world cannot offer anything to us. And this world will never become our property, I can say. So we need to get convinced. So when we get convinced that I don't belong to this world. Actually, I belong to Krishna. And Krishna is my goal. So first thing is to get convinced about the goal. And then second thing is to really give that priority to that goal. Theoretically, we have understood this. Back to home, back to Godhead. Krishna is the goal. But we have never thought in a very deeply about this. Do we really want that? And if the time will come to test our that priority, are we ready for that test? So many times, so that is like there's many more things there in my mind. So this is one of the contemplation, the meditation of Srimati Radharani's appearance, the mood of Srimati Radharani. The first I think step which we have discussed today is about Krishna Sukha Lagi Kara Sarva Parityaga. For giving pleasure to Krishna, I'm ready to give up everything. That's the first characteristic of Radha bhav or the Gopi bhav. So
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna again, I think.
So I'm almost over. And thank you very much to all the Vaishnavas. Please kindly forgive me. Many of you are much more senior than me. I'm just a neophyte. I'm just what I have spoken just for my own contemplation, which I'm contemplating. That only I have spoken. There's no intention to preach to all of you. You are the senior Vaishnavas. So thank you. Anything?
Prabhuji, thank you very much for such a beautiful explanation on Radha Bhav and Gopi Bhav. And our devotees are not ready to leave you. Prabhuji, they are already requesting to continue for another session. So whenever you are free, you can one day you can spare with us for continuing this. Any Fridays.
The only thing is like basically like I'm somewhere in some remote village, and next 2 days I'll be traveling.
Okay.
I think 16th I'll reach to my to Nagpur.
Okay.
So after 17th I might be available. 17th, 18th.
We will plan as per.
Yeah,
As per your
I'll let you
availability,
know.
we'll continue this chapter another day. Thank you very much for enlightening us with a lot of information and a lot of verses. And if anybody is having any questions, we will ask now, because Prabhuji is also late today, because from morning onwards Prabhuji has given another 2 classes and a lot of activities.
No, it's okay.
Any questions, we can proceed. Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Dandavat pranams to you and all. Thank you for explaining so well so many points about Radharani and the Gopi Bhav. Prabhuji, my question is, I've heard that when the gopis ran after when they heard Krishna's flute, which you very nicely you narrated the scene. I heard that they were not having the normal material body, that they only their transcendental bodies went from there to see Krishna. So, but I'm unable to reconcile then the other things which happen in the family members, like how the 20 members she has to somehow get away from them, their control. So how to understand this, Prabhuji?
Thank you very much. When Krishna appears, and especially Krishna's personal associates, the inhabitants of Vrindavan, they also come with Krishna. And while manifesting those pastimes, one is called Nitya Leela and Naimittik Leela. Nitya Leela means which always happens in the spiritual world. That also Krishna manifests. And there is a Naimittik Leela, what you say, circumstantial, like the killing of the demons, and some of these things are like circumstantial. So one of the purpose of all those pastimes also give lessons to the sadhakas. So although like they are having the spiritual body, and like there is no one who can stop them to meet Krishna, but all these things are shown especially for us to understand like what kind of intensity is required. Like the first part, even before the ras, is the stealing of the clothes. That is called a chira harana. So what is a chira harana? There's many more explanation is given about. I had like almost 5 days of katha on this stealing of clothes. So at that time we have discussed very elaborately what is this chira harana. So one is external, just like stealing the clothes. But then like there should not be any curtain between us and Krishna. Nothing should be hidden. So like what is that which can hide from Krishna? Krishna is the one who knows everything, past, present, future. Krishna says Vartamanani, Bhutani, Bhavishyani. He knows everything. So like that, the stealing of clothes were there. Similarly here we see that the family members were stopping him. So just to what you say, Bhakta Nam Manavardhana. This is one of the name of Krishna is by the different activities of the devotees, Krishna wants to glorify the devotion of the devotee. Like Haridas Thakur was given the punishment, Mirabai was tortured, or if you come to Maharashtra, there was Tukaram. Each and every devotee, the pure devotee who got the prem of Krishna, the devotee who got the personal darshan of Krishna, whether you say Prahlad, whether it's a Haridas Thakur, is a Mirabai, or whether it's a Gopis, the first thing they have to go through. Or in Bengali they always say, Kashta kare Krishna mile. In Hindi is a poem, generally I always speak. I don't know how many of you understand Hindi. Bhakti काम करना नहीं है बच्चों का, दम निकल जाता है इसमें अच्छे अच्छों का. It's not like a child's play. One has to be really. So for us, I can say, in our life also we get the difficulty. So for us, like why the such kind of obstacles comes in the lives of devotees? For us to destroy our attachments. We are very much attached to the body. So initially when we get the obstacles, that is to overcome the dehatma buddhi, the bodily concept. We are very much attached to the body and the body relationship. But for a pure devotees like gopis, we say to nullify, for us to nullify the attachments, and for them to glorify. The two different ways. So I don't know exactly what was the question, but I just try to explain. Is that okay, Mataji?
Yeah, yes, Prabhuji. So what I understood is, in order to
yes, they had the spiritual body,
yes, yeah.
but it's just a part of the Leela. That
Okay, that we have
ultimately all the inhabitants of Vrindavan, no one is like anti-Krishna. You cannot say that a husband of gopis were like. If you go deeply, actually all the gopis were married only with Krishna. That's another explanation given the Brahma Vimohan Leela, when all the cowherd boys were stolen, all the calves were stolen, and Krishna took the form of all the cowherd boys, and that's the year when all the gopis got married. That's the only year, they say, Acharyas. So ultimately, all the gopis got married with Krishna only. That's a much more different thing. Yes.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Any other questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, there is a question in the chat box by Kangana Chaitanya Prabhu.
I think only thank
Chat
you.
box.
No, Prabhu. There is a question about requesting about the how is Radha
Thank you
Rani
so much for
Radha Tattva is known as Guru Tattva also.
Guru Tattva is a multitasking. Sometimes Guru Tattva is Balram Tattva, Guru Tattva is Radha Tattva. Ultimately, everything comes down to Guru Tattva only. You can say that when you speak about Balram, so ultimately Guru is the one who is the, you can say, via media for everything, even to get Radha. Like when you offer the one of the prayer for the Guru, He Guru Jnana Dina Bandho Swananda Data Karunaika Sindho Vrindavanasina Hitavatara Prasidha Radha Pranaya Prachara. This is one of the prayer which offered to Guru. Hey Guru, Jnana Dina Bandho, Guru who gives the Jnana, who is the deliverer of the fallen, Dina Bandhu, Swananda Data Karunaika Sindhu, is ocean of mercy, is the bestower of the transcendental bliss. Vrindavanasina Hitavatara, one who is eternally residing in Vrindavan Dham as the eternal associate of Radha and Krishna. Vrindavanasina Hita Avatara, only for the welfare of me, just to deliver me, my Guru Maharaj has appeared on this planet. Vrindavanasina Hitavatara Prasidha Radha Pranaya Prachara. Oh Guru Maharaj, please kindly be pleased with me, Prasidha Radha Pranaya Prachara. And Guru is the one who gives us the Radha Bhava. It's mentioned there. As I just read the statement by His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj about Radhastami, and then he said that the way you can please Srimati Radharani is by pleasing Srila Prabhupada. I like that statement very much. So yeah, Guru is the ultimate tattva for each and every soul. Whether so Balram's mercy also comes through Guru, Radharani's mercy also comes through Guru, Lalita, Vishaka, 6 Goswamis, all the Acharyas, everyone's mercy ultimately comes through Guru only. That's a general explanation, and it's not exactly technical thing. I don't know about Radha Tattva and Guru Tattva exact connection, but what I heard, I just try to explain. I hope that that might be.
Yes, sir. Thank
sufficient.
you.
Anyone would like to add some comments? Yes.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Prabhu. Not at all qualified to make an attempt on this. But still, Guru is teaching us to serve Lord. So Radharani is the ultimate servitor. So in that way,
yeah,
that is what is coming in mind.
Sumitra Bro has raised the hand.
Sumitra Mataji, yes.
Sumitra Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Sumitra Mataji, you can ask now. You can unmute and ask.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes,
Hare
go
Krishna.
Just one question. Actually, when difficulties come, how to overcome? Actually, difficulties come means you are saying that we are attachment to the material world, so that much only the obstacles come. So I can't understand. So how to overcome? So difficulty means if we are attaching to the material world, we are not I mean, realizing who we are, like that, how you want to take?
Can you make it more specific?
No, no. Actually, one Mataji asked, no, that you said, Prabhuji said that obstacles coming because of we are very attached to the material world. So how to overcome from that? Because many obstacles coming when we are overcome, because now in the material world we are facing many problems. So how to overcome? How to get graceful of Krishna? Then actually, just I'm asking how to detach from that.
Lord Kapila speaks about how to overcome the attachments. It says, Prasangam ajaram pasham atmanah kavayo vidu sa eva sadhu shukrita moksha dvaram apavrutam. Attachment to this worldly things, attachment to the bodily relationships is the cause of bondage. So one is not supposed to completely, you can say, make the attachment zero. That's not possible. That's not the nature of the soul. The soul is looking for the attachment. And what is that perfection of the attachment? Sa eva sadhu shukritaha. When you dovetail, when you direct that attachment to the Guru, to the Vaishnavas. So that's the one thing I can say, one part of how you can purify the attachment. When you become attached to someone who is already attached to Krishna. When you attach to, say, like if you get attached to Srila Prabhupada, you get attached to the spiritual master, you to the proportion you're attached to someone who is attached to Krishna.
Okay.
As Shukdev Goswami speaks in the 6th canto, 1st chapter of Bhagavatam, that none of the atonement is that much powerful, as much service to the Vaishnavas. That can purify all the sinful tendencies, they say. So the easiest way is to develop attachment for at least some devotee one need to have. That is called the Premi Bhakta. So Premi Bhakta for us, again, the easiest is Srila Prabhupada. Others we can't say. But Prabhupada is the one, surely. He is the eternal associate of Lord Chaitanya, Sainapati Bhakta, who specially came for us. So the devotees have practical experience that the kind of intensity of the attachment we had before coming to Krishna consciousness, definitely the intensity has got reduced. It's not that much. Some were attached to the drinking, some were attached to the smoking, and some were attached to all the illicit activities, but it's not there. Like, say, like if someone of us might be having the non-veg, they were eating the meat or they're drinking alcohol. So if you ask any of the initiated devotees, how much do you miss the non-veg? I'm not getting the fish. I'm not getting the beef. I'm really missing the beer, the wine. We don't even remember. So naturally we see that a certain degree of detachment has come. Just even like following 4 little principle itself is a big detachment. It's not something ordinary in this material world, especially in the Kali Yuga outside atmosphere you see. So something we have developed, and more, the practical way I can say, more and more we serve Srila Prabhupada mission.
Okay.
Like his always Loknath Maharaj, he speaks very nice thing. When you go to temple, it's a very nice statement. When you go to temple, you should feel like home. And when you go to home, you should feel like a temple.
Very nice.
It's a very deep thing.
Yeah.
You should feel the temple as my home. This is my Krishna. This is my Prabhupada. So when you feel temple as your home, and when you come to home, make your home like a temple. So then what Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Manas Deha Geha Jo Kichu More Arpilutti Oga Padananda Kishore. Oh Krishna, this wife is yours, this children is yours, this home is yours. I am what is it? Sarvastu tomara charane arpiya podechi tomara ghare tumi to thakura tomara kukura. I'm just like your dog. So this is a very simple thing. Just by developing a relation with the spiritual master, by getting connected to the mission of spiritual master, the attachments goes really easily.
So, I mean, in this case, we should understand we should not have attachment with our families. No, just we can have. Or just
One is called as Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Sorry. Sorry, I'll just finish this statement. One is called as affection and second is called as attachment. Affection is like this is Krishna's devotee, this is Krishna's property. So Nirbandha Krishna Sambandha, understanding the relationship with Krishna, then you also have some love for them. But what is the meaning of attachment? When you forget the presence of Krishna in that relationship, then that becomes the attachment.
Okay.
But when that relationship, Krishna is the center, then that is not attachment. Yavat raga destena, yavat karagraham, yavat mohangri nigadam, yavat Krishna natejana. Brahma speaks in the prayers, 10th canto, chapter 14. The relationships are like the nigada. Nigada means the shackles, janjeer. The relationships of the world are like shackles till the time Krishna is not the center. Till the time you don't have that personal relation with Krishna, that I am Krishna's and this family belong to Krishna.
Okay.
Then they are not attachments.
Okay, very nice explanation. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yes. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
So we'll conclude.
Yes, ma'am.
Hare Krishna. Shivagana Prabhu, you can do vote of thanks to Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandat Pranams, to your lotus feet. Thank you Prabhu thank you for your very, very, you can say, very inspirational and very devotional lecture, you can say. So we don't have words for appreciation, but it was a very deep subject. We are not qualified, but definitely by your mercy, Prabhu, we will try to imbibe your teachings for the pleasure of all the Vaishnavas. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for accepting our invitation and giving your time, valuable time for us. On behalf of all assembled Vaishnavas, we would like to express our gratitude by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra 3 times.
Hare Krishna, Krishna
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Hare
Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna.
We'll do Vaishnava Pranam also to Prabhuji. Vancha
Kalpataru.
Kalpatarudhya Kripa Sindhu Jayavata Pavanam Pavanebhyo Namo Namo.
Nanta Kodi Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai.
Jai.
Ad ki jai.
Jai.
Ki jai.
Jai.
Radhastami Mahamahotsav ki jai.
Jai.
Anantshesh Prabhuji ki jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhuji.